This, I think, is one of Taylor's coolest records out there. Hello and welcome back to my channel. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Rachel. I do lots of Taylor Swift unboxing videos, vlogs, mental health videos. If that sounds like something that would be interesting to you, it would be so cool if you could subscribe. And also, if you're returning, hello, thank you so much for returning. That's super, super cool. Today's video is going to be all of the Torture Poets Department vinyl you can currently get. So I have done a few Torture Poets Department videos before in terms of the CDs, the cassettes, the vinyl. However, I've actually not put all of the vinyl into one video. So that's what we're going to do today. This video will be perfect for you if you are looking for yourself or you're looking for a gift for someone and you're not sure which vinyl to get, because there are a lot of them. So I'm going to be showing you all of the different versions just so you can make the decision on which one to get if you are looking for it or if you just want to see all of the vinyl that are currently available. So obviously we're going to start off with the first one. This is like the standard pressing for the Torture Poets, and this is what it looks like. So there are four kind of main pressings of the Torture Poets Department. This is the first one, so this is the one with the manuscript. So you've got all of the normal songs on here, so you go from Fortnight all the way down to Clara Bow, and then you have a bonus track of the manuscript. The bonus track does vary depending on which version you get, so a lot of people, when they're making the decision on which Torture Poets Department vinyl to get, they will base it on the fact that they like the manuscript the most of those four exclusive songs. So this is what it looks like. You open her up and there you go. So this, I think, is one of Taylor's coolest records out there, one of the coolest vinyl packaging, because it actually has a book-bound jacket inside of the record, so inside of the gatefold, whereas often vinyl don't really have lyric booklets at all. Taylor's Midnight's one does have a lyric booklet. This one's lyric booklet is inside, and at the beginning you then have the poem by Stevie Nicks, which I think is super, super cool, and then you have this book-bound jacket. So in the book-bound jacket, obviously, you've got the lyrics to all of the songs on Torture Poets. Now, this is different depending on which version you get. So there are different photos in each version, which is super cool. The pages also vary by colour as well in the different versions, because each of the vinyl have slightly different colour. So you can see you've got some gorgeous pictures there of Taylor. And you also have different handwritten lyrics inside as well. So they've definitely made this for vinyl collectors, which I really love. But Daddy I Love Him also varies slightly as well. This one, I can't imagine anyone would decide which record to get based on the shape of the But Daddy I Love Him, like, lyrics, how they're laid out, but you never know. So we'll be showing you that. But yeah, you do have different handwritten lyrics, different photos of Taylor inside during this book-bound jacket bit. There you go. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm kind of like questioning whether I show you the book-bound jacket in all of them. So we're going to do a brief sort of showing you of it. If you want to see more in depth of the book-bound jacket, I did do that for the vinyl video itself. At the end of the book-bound jacket, you would then have the In Summary poem by Taylor Swift. This In Summary poem is the same in each of the five main pressings. We'll get onto that in a second. But the photo behind it differs. So on some of them, the text, so the handwritten poem by Taylor, is in white rather than black. So let's look at the record inside. So this is the manuscript version, but this is the ghosted white version of the manuscript. There's actually two different versions, and if you want to see which version you're going to get, look for the hype sticker on the front. The hype sticker on the front here will say the manuscript, but it will clarify which version you're getting. So as you can see here, two ghosted white vinyl discs. If you do not want the ghosted white, don't buy this one. If you want the other one, get the other one. So this is what the little inner sleeves look like. So you've got the handwritten lyrics there for Fortnight on one side, and then on the other you've got this gorgeous picture of Taylor, and it's kind of like in a file format. Then this is the record. As you can see, it's a ghosted white colour, aka it is an opaque white vinyl. Ever so slightly off white, you can't really see, it's an ever so slightly warmer white. So it's not completely just like a normal sort of white, it is slightly warmer in tone, but that is what it looks like. Now there are two LP inside of this, because obviously Torture Poets is quite a long album. You aren't getting all of the tracks on this though. So obviously, you know, on streaming there is the anthology version. This vinyl right here doesn't have all of those tracks. So if you like any songs from the anthology, and you really want them on vinyl, you're not going to want to get any of these normal pressings just because it doesn't have those songs on. And in the other LP, you have this, and then you have the lyrics, handwritten lyrics to So Long London there, and the record is again exactly the same. It would have been quite nice, I think, if they changed the colour of the record just because you've got 2 LP. I personally like it when they do that, however, it does obviously increase the price of the record. So again, pretty much exactly the same for both of those LP inside. So the normal songs that you are going to get on this are Fortnight through Clara Bow. So on side A, you've got Fortnight, obviously featuring Post Malone, The Tortured Poets Department, My Boy Only Breaks His Favourite Toys, and Down Bad. On side B, you've got So Long London, But Daddy I Love Him, Fresh Out the Slammer, and Florida featuring Florence the Machine. Then on the next LP, so those two on the first LP, this is on the next LP, side C, Guilty as Sin, Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, I Can Fix Him, No Really I Can, and LOML. Then side D, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, The Alchemy, Clara Bow, and the bonus track, The Manuscript. So those are all of the songs that are on this particular record. However, there are actually 2 different versions of The Manuscript out there. So there's that Ghosted White, which I just showed you, but there is also the Phantom Clear. Now the difference between these is the different hype sticker as well as the vinyl, but if you are purchasing it, the way you're going to be able to see which version is which by looking at the hype sticker. Now the hype sticker is very, very similar, unfortunately. But as you can see, one of them says Ghosted White, the other one says Phantom Clear. Do pay attention. If you are purchasing it, do pay attention because it is so easy. I imagine there's been a lot of people out there who have accidentally probably bought 2 of the same or bought the wrong one. So do be careful when purchasing that. In the US, if you live in the US, the Phantom Clear one, I do believe, was the Target exclusive. So that should also have a Target sticker. I live in the UK. It was available, I think, in HMV and like different places. I think I got it from Taylor's online store though. But yeah, that didn't have a Target sticker because I live in the UK. This is what this looks like. I'm not going to show you the ins and outs of this one because everything in this is exactly the same. Now, if you do want all the versions of this, obviously get all the versions. However, if you want to save a little bit of money, I personally wouldn't buy both versions of this if I was recommending it to other people. Obviously, I did it because I'm weird, but everything in this is exactly the same. The only difference is the colour of the LP inside. And when I say colour, there's actually not a colour to this one because it is clear. So this is what it looks like. Now, personally, I'm going to be completely honest, I probably do prefer the Ghosted White. If I did have to give my recommendation of one or the other, I would say the Ghosted White, just because I think it's slightly nicer and it fits with the other pressings better. Whereas this one, obviously, it is really cool. It is a clear record. A lot of people really like these transparent records. They're obviously not completely transparent because you do obviously have to have the grooves inside. So you can see my eye there, but you can't see it like that. And that's because obviously you have to have the grooves so it can actually play the songs. But this is what this looks like. And the vinyl inside, there are 2 exactly the same, both of these Phantom Clear. So with the other records I'm about to show you, these all have different bits inside. This is the only one that is an exact replica of the other one, the only difference being the colour of the LP. So reasons why you might buy this one, most likely is the cover. This is the cover that you're going to recognise on streaming for the standard version of the Tortured Poets Department. This is the Tortured Poets Department album cover. So some people do like this one just because it's the version they recognise. Also, if you like the song The Manuscript, then you are probably going to want to get this one just because obviously this is the only version of the kind of 4 main, well, these 2 are the only versions of the 4 main sort of pressings that have the Manuscript on them. This one I really like, but again, if I had to say one or the other, I would probably get the Ghosted White. Those 2, there are also actually 2 other versions of the Ghosted White. These ones are harder to come by. They're usually not sold regularly. They were only sold for a limited time, and these are the signed versions. Now, there are 2 different versions of the signed version out there, and the signed version of the Tortured Poets vinyl was only sold with the Ghosted White record. It was never sold with the Phantom Clear. It was only sold for the Manuscript. This is the normal insert you will get. So if you ordered the signed Tortured Poets Department vinyl in the first set, so they did a couple different releases, this is the insert you would get. It is a vinyl insert. As you can see, it's slightly larger than like a CD, well, quite a bit larger than a CD insert. This is what it would look like, this photograph. However, if you ordered it in a slightly later release, you then got the same photo that was included in the signed CD. So there are 2 different versions of the signed Tortured Poets Department vinyl out there. There is this version. This version's slightly more rare just because this was only sold in the first set of the vinyl release for the signed Tortured Poets Department, whereas this was sold in the second release, but it was also included in all those CD releases as well, and there were quite a lot of signed Tortured Poets Department CDs. But if you're looking for a signed version, there are 2 versions of that as well. So that technically is another kind of version of it, kind of. But it's the same vinyl. So I'm not going to show you the vinyl again because it's the same vinyl, but yeah. Does that make sense? Let me know if you have any questions. I'm trying to like go through this really clearly for people who may not understand Taylor Swift things, say if they're buying it for someone else. So let me know if you have any questions and I'll do my best to answer them. I've got to mention there that those 2 records go for around £40 each. Varies depending on where you get it. H&V it's around like £45. Other places it can be slightly cheaper. Sometimes you can find a deal and stuff, but that is the generic sort of like general price for it. Unless obviously you are going for the signed version. The signed version obviously is going to be slightly more expensive whether or not you get that signed vinyl insert or the signed kind of CD insert that it came with. The next pressing we have is the Bolter. So the tracks on this are all the same from Fortnight through to Clara Bow. However, the bonus track, instead of having the Manuscript, you have the Bolter, which is a different song, obviously. So if the Bolter is your favourite song, then you're probably going to want to get this record. When you open it up, it has that same poem there by Stevie Nicks. And as you can see, the pages are slightly different in terms of the colour in this one. However, it's also the photos inside that are different too. So I can't imagine many people deciding which one they want to get based on the photos inside, but I'll just kind of show you. And again, if you want an in-depth look at this, you can check out my other kind of vinyl video on this, because I don't want to make this video too long. But yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous photos of Taylor there. The But Daddy I Love Him lyrics are in the shape of a circle on this one, if that's what you are basing your thing off. You've also got different handwritten lyrics kind of placed throughout too. So we'll just go through them. And then when you get to the end, the handwritten lyrics at the end, instead of being for the Manuscript, obviously for the Bolter too. So we'll just get, where was there? What was there? This is so hard to do. We're so close. There you go. So we've got those handwritten lyrics there for the Bolter. So that's what that looks like. And then on the final page, you've then got a different photo of Taylor there for her in summary poem. So the vinyl in here are parchment beige. They're not my favourite colour in terms of records, but they are quite nice and I think they fit very well with the Torture Poets Department theme. So on the first one, you've got the handwritten lyrics for the Torture Poets Department on the inner sleeve there. Then this is what the record looks like inside. So that is that parchment beige colour there. I was going to say it's kind of similar to the Folklore in the Trees, but honestly it's not really that similar, but it's kind of similar. And then on the other one, you then have the handwritten lyrics for Florida featuring Florence the Machine. So you've got them there. And the record inside, it's that same colour. It's that parchment beige there. So that's what that one looks like. And that is the Bolter version. This one I do really like. I think it is a gorgeous pressing and I really love the Bolter song. I think this also has a really nice cover. I do actually think all of the different versions of the Torture Poets Department have nice covers as well. So I would find it pretty difficult to base which version I was going to get based on that cover, just because personally I think all of the covers are really nice. Obviously you'll all have your own opinion, so let me know which one your favourite cover is at the end of this, but I do really like this one. So that's the Bolter there. Next up you then have the Albatross. This one has 2 smoke grey LP inside. This is what this one looks like. I like the cover of this one as well. I would say of the 4 main ones though, this is probably my least favourite of the covers, even though I think they're all really gorgeous. I would say it's just my least favourite. But that's obviously kind of difficult because they are all really, really nice. So the pages are again a slightly different colour and then you have different pictures of Taylor throughout. So we'll just briefly go through these. The But Daddy I Love Him lyrics there are in the shape of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hexagon. I need to clarify, I didn't want to say the wrong shape. So you can see what they look like there. They're so gorgeous, they're so pretty. Yeah, I do really like this. I love their book bound jacket. I think it's a really nice touch. And it's just so interesting for a vinyl because in terms of all the vinyl I have, none of them have this. So I think that's really cool. Oh, I thought I missed the lyrics there. So the tracks on this are the normal tracks. So you've got Fortnight through to Clara Bow. The bonus track on this one is the Albatross. So you've got those handwritten lyrics for the Albatross there. Then you have the In Summary poem by Taylor Swift. The LP inside of this are also really nice. You've got the handwritten lyrics for But Daddy I Love Him on this inner sleeve. And then this is what the smoke grey record looks like. I would say if you're going to have a smoke record, it should be a marbled one. The fact that this isn't marbled I think is a little bit disappointing. I think it would have been nice like the Folklore ones where it looks opaque and then when you have it up to the sun it's marbled. I personally just think if you're going to have a smoke one you need to have like little smoke bits inside. In my personal opinion, obviously people are free to disagree with me there, but I would personally say that. Let me know what you guys think. Like, I get the rest of them are all opaque as well in terms of these 4 kind of main pressings, but it would be nice to have a little bit of marbling, because I love marbling on a vinyl. I think it makes it so unique as well. Sure, you can end up with questionable pressings, and trust me, we have had some in the past. Midnight's Mahogany, but they are still nice. On this one, you've got the handwritten lyrics to The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. If that's your favourite song, I hope you're doing okay. And then you've got another one of that smoke grey record. I would say it's a very similar colour to the Folklore Long Pond, which was the Taylor Swift record store release for 2023. There's also a Chinese pressing of it as well available now. But yeah, it's nice. I would say maybe the Folklore Long Pond's a bit darker, but yeah, it's kind of a similar colour to that. And I just think they'd be nicer. I'm sorry to be a hater, but I do think they would be nicer with a little bit of marbling on them. And then last but certainly not least, in terms of these 4 main pressings, don't worry, we still have more records to go, is the Black Dog. So you may be looking at this and thinking, that's not the Black Dog, that's the anthology. And technically you would be correct. If you saw this on streaming, this is the cover of the anthology on streaming, this is what it looks like. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they released a vinyl saying this is the Black Dog version and then released the anthology and had it as a different, well, the same cover. That was silly to me, because when they eventually released the anthology vinyl, which we'll get onto, it has a different cover. I don't understand that. To me, that makes no sense. Maybe it's because they didn't think they were going to release an anthology vinyl, but even then, why would you have the same cover for a different like version of the album? I don't know, I think it's weird. So this is what this one looks like. You've got all of the same tracks, Fortnight through to Clarabo. The bonus track on this is the Black Dog, which is probably my favourite of those 4 bonus tracks. The pages on this are the darkest in all of them, so this is kind of like the darker pressing, just because obviously like the other ones are kind of like white and then grey. They all have slightly different borders depending on which version you get. Same with the CDs as well. think I've done a video on all the CDs if you want to check that out too. The But Daddy I Love Him lyrics are in the shape of a diamond. There we go. So we have the bookbound jacket, which I've already said is really cool. This is actually the last version I'm going to show you with the bookbound jacket. The other 2 LP 2 vinyl I'm going to show you, they do not have a bookbound jacket inside, which I think is a little bit of a shame. But yeah, all of these pressings, as I said, are the kind of ones that aren't rag. They are very easy to get, so don't overpay for any of these, just because there's not really any point. They are usually sold in most sort of shops that sell records, or if not, you can buy them online. And if you're looking resale, you can usually find them cheaper as well than face value, just because there are a lot of them out there, so they don't sell for as much. Then you've got the handwritten lyrics there for the Black Dog, and then you've got the In Summary poem by Taylor Swift. The record inside of this is an ink black vinyl. Now for me, I said it doesn't really seem black, it's more of a brown, at least in person rather than on camera. And then someone was like, yeah, that's because that's what like ink is in terms of a colour. Like when you see it like together, it looks like that. So fair enough, I was wrong. So here you've got the handwritten lyrics for the Alchemy there, and then you've got a picture of Taylor. I love that one. She just looks so moody, and honestly I relate. So yeah, this is the ink black. You can kind of see it looks slightly brown. Like it almost looks like a general pressing though. I would say it looks even darker in person than on camera, because I can just see the little screen there. Yeah, this is what it looks like. It's nice, but I do think it's very, very close to just a standard black pressing. And don't get me wrong, like I love a record. One of my favorite parts of the record is usually the cover, which I think is a bit weird, but like if you're very close to a standard black pressing and it's like 40 quid, if not more, for 2 LP, that's quite a lot. So then you have the handwritten lyrics on this one for Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, and then you have that same ink black record. I'm sorry, I stand by it. It's slightly brown. Look at it. It does look darker in person, yeah, but like it is slightly brown. It was ink brown. You're just like, Rachel, stop being silly. But yeah, so this is the final one of the 4 main pressings. These are the ones that were released before Torture Poets Department came out. These are the ones that you're going to see in sort of stores. The next one you will see in stores, but it took a while for that one to come out. These are the ones that were available when Torture Poets Department was first released. The next one I'm going to show you is the first one with like a very different sort of track list, because obviously all of these have had a very similar track list because they've all sort of been the same version, just with one different bonus track. But the next one, we have a lot. So we have the anthology. This was released towards the end of 2024. This is what it looks like. I think it was a Target exclusive potentially in the US. I could be wrong because I don't live in the United States, so if I'm wrong, please correct me. But this is what this one looks like. Now, in this one, there is no book-bound jacket, but you've got to bear in mind, this is a 4 LP. This one sells usually for about £60, so it is the most expensive of all the Torture Poets department in terms of face value. However, it does have the most tracks on here. So you don't have the book-bound jacket, but you do have the in summary poem by Taylor Swift there. However, it's not handwritten like it is on the other one. The only bit that's handwritten is that very little bit at the end. In terms of the track list, you have all of the songs from Fortnight through to Clara Bow, but you then have extra tracks. So you have the well, it's actually in a slightly different order, because like you would think it would be like the 4 generic pressing kind of tracks. But anyway, so you've got the extra ones, the Black Dog, I'm Gonna Get You Back, the Albatross, Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus, How Did It End in So High School, I Hate It Here, Thank You Amy, I Look at People's Windows, The Prophecy, Cassandra, Peter, The Bolter, Robin, and then the Manuscript. Then you also have Fortnight acoustic version featuring Post Malone, Down Bad acoustic version, But Daddy I Love Him acoustic version, and Guilty as Sin acoustic versions. These are the acoustic versions that were released on the CDs. Most of them were exclusive to the US store, but I have a video on them if you do want to check it out, because I did manage to get my friend to get them from the US store for me, which is really nice. Thanks, Joy. But yes, this has the most songs on it. The acoustic versions I'm not the biggest fan of, just because they have the same vocals, if that makes sense. So they don't have like different vocals inside like the State of Grace acoustic. It's more like haunted acoustic. So you have a little poster that comes with this one. The other versions don't have a poster. This one does have a poster. This is what the poster looks like. It is just a picture of Taylor from the Torture Poets department album cover, like album photo shoot, which is really cool. Then we have the LP. These are definitely not going to be in order. Or maybe they are in order. Huh, impressive. I just presumed I put them back in the wrong order. So this is what this one looks like. Got a picture of Taylor on one side and then the lyrics on the other. I think these are nice. It is nice. Obviously, I get having the lyrics because you don't have that book-bound jacket, but I do like an inner sleeve that's more like themed. So this is the record you have here. This is what it looks like. I actually have 2 of this. I probably should have shown you the other one, because this is the one that I have that's slightly damaged. They did then send me a replacement, because this one has a bit of paper like pressed into it. This is what that one looks like. So as you can see, this is more of a transparent one, but it is marbled. I really like these, and I do think they fit the Torture Poets department better than the opaque versions that are included with those 4 sort of standard pressings. So I do actually really like the marbling on this. I think it's more smoky than the smoke grey record that we have. Next up, we have another one, another great picture of Taylor with lyrics there. So we have a slightly different pressing here. It is again that transparent, but it is slightly a darker one. Someone actually pointed out that the different LP inside of this, even though they're more transparent and slightly different, they are kind of like those 4 generic pressings, just in like a slightly different form, if that makes sense, because that one's kind of like the Black Dog, the first one was kind of like the Manuscript, and then you have this one. Oh wait, no, this one would be more like the Black Dog, because this one's obviously the darkest one that's included, so it's kind of like a black sort of like transparency vinyl with like dark marbling. I think this one is super, super gorgeous. I think all the records inside the anthology are. I think they are just really, really pretty. And then you have this, so you got another picture of Taylor and then just the lyrics there, and then this is the final pressings. This one's kind of like the Bolter. This one I would say is the most disappointing of all of them, just because the marbling is a bit too subtle. The marbling's sort of like, I don't know, you can kind of see it there in that light, but I think the other ones, because the marbling's a bit darker than the actual like the record, it stands out more, whereas it doesn't stand out as much on that one, so I don't think it fits in as well, say, as the other ones do. But I do think this is a gorgeous pressing, and if you are looking for the one with the most tracks, this is the pressing you want. If you want the complete version of the Torture Poets department with the anthology, this is the version you're going to want to get. It is more expensive, yes, obviously. It's £60 compared to like the 40. However, it has all of the songs on. You are getting extra tracks on this, and it feels more like complete. If you can't decide between the Manuscript, the Black Dog, the Albatross, and the Bolter, this is also great because it has all of those tracks on as well as those other anthology tracks too. So if I was going to recommend one, it would probably be the Ghosted White Torture Poets department or the anthology. However, we do still have one LP. Well, it's not actually an LP, it's a 7-inch. We have one left, and I will say this isn't one I would recommend unless you are collecting them. And that is because it's the Record Store Day 2025 release. This one only has 1 song on it. It has 2 different versions of that 1 song, but it only has 1 song on it. So if you are getting the record to play, you don't really want this unless you're a collector, because obviously it just have that one song. So it's got Fortnight on side A and then Fortnight on side B. It's got Fortnight. My brain was just like, no, there is no thoughts, absolutely no thoughts. Yeah. We've lost all thoughts. The thoughts have disappeared from my head. So on side A, it's got Fortnight featuring Post Malone, and side B, it's got Fortnight featuring Post Malone, the Blondish remix. This is what it looks like. It is gorgeous. Face value is around £20. I've seen people sell it for around 40 now because it is a record store day, so it is more limited than those other ones. All of the other pressings, apart from the signed versions, you can just buy now, so they have stayed the same price. This one, because it was a record store day exclusive, has gone up, but compared to other record store day exclusives, it has not had how many were pressed released, so we don't actually know. So it's more rare than the other pressings of the Torture Poets department, just because they're still available in shops. This one isn't still available in shops unless they have some record store day ones left over, and it can't be repressed because it's a record store day exclusive. So this one will only be pressed for that one day. So this will eventually become more rare, but is the most rare of all the Torture Poets department. But as I said, this isn't one I would recommend unless it's for a collector. Let me know in the comments which one is your favourite of all of these. I definitely love the cover of this. I said when I got the CD, so they have the CD for Fortnite Acoustic that has this cover, and I think that's one of my favourites. It's got a photo in it from the Fortnite music video. I think it's so gorgeous. But as I said, the ones I would recommend are probably the Ghosted White Torture Poets Manuscript, because that one's obviously the cover you recognise from streaming services. That's the normal cover, that's kind of the standard pressing. But if you are playing your record, then definitely get the Torture Poets Department anthology, because that has all of the songs on it. You are getting the complete collection. Let me know in the comments which one did you get, which one are you planning to get if you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more videos like this. It'd be so cool if you managed to subscribe. If you managed to make it to the end and also would like to subscribe to me, that would be really, really nice. It really helps out me and the channel. So thank you so much for watching. Again, any questions whatsoever, let me know in the comments. I make these videos because I am weird and I like to collect these things and variant collect, which I know is strange for some people, but I also like to kind of share it and show it to people so they can kind of make a decision for themselves, because most people don't want like 6-7 copies of the same record. So let me know in the comments which ones you have and stuff, which ones you are looking to get, which ones you'd like to get. I love talking to you guys on here. It's always really fun because I like to just yap about Taylor Swift. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you liked it, and as always, have a great day.